Great. Welcome, everyone, to another one of our hot-powered, inspiring interviews. And as you know, every time we introduce you to an amazing entrepreneur, change maker, trailblazer, speaker that shares with you some of their best practices and hints and tips and experiences and wisdom that you can apply in your business and with your speaking right away. So let me introduce our amazing lady, our amazing guest today. Her name is Campbell Rapin. And she's a business success coach and serial entrepreneur. She's the owner of Clear Acceleration Inc. and she founded the online community Scale Your Business to 6 and more figures and beyond in 2018. She has really a no-nonsense approach, which I personally love and resonate with, and I'm sure you will too. So she has a no-nonsense approach to helping business owners achieve consistent client growth, to create consistently profitable businesses by implementing proven marketing and business strategies. She's focused on helping solopreneurs and small business owners get clear, gain confidence, and eventually get results. Christine is really an international best-selling author and co-author. She has a Bachelor of Commerce and an MBA in international business. So, Christine, welcome. It's great to have you with us.
I'm super excited to sit down and have a conversation. Thank you for having me.
Yay. And I know that you're going to share a lot of golden nuggets today. So let's jump right in. I always like to know, what are your own personal 3 favorite best practices or things you do right now to bring your business to the next level?
Well, the first thing is, finding an inner circle that challenges me, supports me, and calls me to rise. I think the first thing is the inner circle. The second thing is always looking to be in the right rooms. This is really what accelerates your business. And it's really important to constantly be assessing, where am I playing and does it serve me today? And where could it serve me down the road? So that would be number 2, is finding the right rooms. The third thing is play. You've got to love the journey you're on. And it's not to say that every day is rainbows and unicorns, but I love what I do. And I remind myself actively to find ways to play, because if it's not fun, why are we doing this? And those 3 things really reconnect me to, I love this. How can I make a difference today?
Love it. So let's go into each and every one of them in a little more detail, right? So the first one is, you said, find inner circle that challenges you to rise, right? To expand, to grow, to do things in a bigger scale. How are you finding your inner circles? What are you paying attention to? How do you choose inner circles? Because there's so many communities and circles these days. How do you choose yours? Or if you create your own, how do you create them?
Well, I've done both. So one of the reasons I started my group in 2018 was because I knew that a lot of people who started a journey were accidental entrepreneurs or accidental pursuit of business. And they didn't always have a good support system. And there was a lot of early failures, and it led them running for the hills. And so I knew right away that I wanted to create a space where it's like, you can come as you are, sit until you're ready to stand. But I'm always looking for people that are thinking partners. And that's a really important thing. And it starts with a simple conversation, but it's also, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are you great at? And what do you invite for feedback? And the inner circle to me is really about people that I know will give me honest feedback, because that's really important, which you don't always get when you're, potentially working with clients, because, you're in a dynamic that's different. And so I have actively sought out people that when my life goes sideways or my business hits a plot twist, that I can go to in a sense of panic, but also I need somebody to help me see the wider picture of what's going on, and knowing that it's a safe space, but it's an honest space. And I must have the courage to truly reflect on what they're saying and then make my decisions to move forward. And so the first way to find it, if you don't create your own, is to start by asking, who do you admire and why? And then have a conversation with them and find out more about what makes them tick, because you want to know their thinking patterns. That's when you really are looking for an inner circle, not just a fan. I said, it's great to be supportive, but I'm looking for somebody who will be a good thinking partner. And so I'm always looking at, how do they think? And are they honest?
I love what you're saying. And Christine, there's some people that say there's a difference between having an inner circle and creating an inner circle. People call it a mastermind or, something like that, where they say, hey, that's my inner circle of people that I can really come honest, be very honest, be very vulnerable, and ask for help and support and reflection and all of that. Creating a group is often something different, or people consider it as something different. So often inner circle is the space that holds the space. It's space for people to hold a space for us. A group or community that we are building is often a space where we hold the space for others to advance and grow, right?
Correct. I would agree with
So
that.
when you speak about inner circle, or you mention at the same time building your group, how do you see that? Is that different for you? Like, is the
They are different.
inner circle your own mastermind, and then your group is your group? Or I just wanted to make sure that everyone that is with us here understands the difference.
That is a great distinction. So my inner circle is small. It's probably half a dozen people, but they are, as I said, and they're all over the world because my business is all over the world. So I always take that as intention. When we're talking about communities we want to be part of, what I sought after as a vision was it would be a place where you could say, take me as I am. And in the group space, it is a larger community for sure. And it's also a place where you can sit on the sidelines. In an inner circle, you can't for long periods of time because they don't allow that. It's not about being an observation point. It is being an active point. And so the group can be both. You can take your level. And I always say to people, this is the safe space of like-minded thinkers, but you choose your level. When I'm in my inner circle, and yes, some of them I do belong to masterminds with, it is, you must be an active contributor. And it is more about a peer-to-peer network. And groups don't always necessarily mean peer-to-peer. Sometimes you join communities and groups because you need to see a vision, yet you are not living. And there is a bit of a gap, and that can be inspiring. It can be helping you with roadmaps. It can help you accelerate. You do want to recognize, what do I want out of each space?
Absolutely. And I'd like to go a little more into, building. You say that you've built a group since 2018. So what were some, where is your group now? So what is your group about? Where is your group now? Maybe in terms of size, or in terms of, what kind of people are you attracting? And then also, what were your top 3 insights and learnings as you build that group, in terms of how to really create a group, how to keep growing a group and community, and how to engage people in the best way? That is what a lot of people that are building groups are struggling with. I mean, I've seen actually communities on Facebook with, like, I don't know, 20 or 60,000 people, and then there's something posted, maybe 2 or 3 people respond. That's not the kind of group that at least I would envision creating. So tell us about you. What is your group? What are some of your learnings, and what are your top 3 learnings on how to keep growing and engaging people within your group and community?
The first thing you really need to know, and it's the same thing that you do as a speaker, is what's in it for the audience, what's in it for the member. And I think some of the challenge with the group dynamic, and my group is on Facebook currently, it'll likely turn into its own ecosystem off that platform over the coming year. But it really was about, really first and center, what does my audience need to get value out of being in that space? And so often one of the big challenges I see is people are like, it's all about me. I'm here to grow my business. I'm here to do this as the owner of the group, and it never works. That's where you get crickets in the field. So I'm always about, what do they need? And it needs to be really clear that they're going to take value out of it, not simply be a place of entertainment. So the first thing is value. The second thing for me is I chose to keep it private. And there is a membership requirement. It's not a cost to join it, but there is a bit of, we need to make sure you're the right fit for here. Because this is something where, again, in my group was about, you are starting to become a business owner. And for many people, that I would consider them emerging entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people who are yet in the closet with their business. And so they don't want to be posting on public groups their problems, their fears. And so therefore, also, you end up with that observation piece instead of an active engagement. The third thing that's really important is you need to be predictable. And for me, I said, I am here to provide you insight on business. I'm here to show you some tools and resources to help you grow to that 6-figure level, working with a particularly high ticket offer in a service-based economy. It's very specific what the people are going to get out of this. And I say to people, this is not a place where you can join my group and bomb your stuff and promote. And there's a lot of groups that grow really fast because that's something they allow for paid, or they say that, this is, I'm actively looking for people to come join my group and come promote. I will tell you right now, you cannot grow a business by joining 100 Facebook groups. It's painful. Stop doing it. It's the worst piece of a business advice I think it's out there. But I say to people, if you are actively engaging in my community and you're contributing value and you're a regular face on the platform and you have an event, 100% our community would be behind you. Promote within our community. But you can't join and promote because I simply won't approve it. And say, this is the safe space to be. Who are we serving? What are we, very specifically giving and contributing, being consistent and saying create a private group where it's a safe space for people to recognize where are they on their journey. And you need to be consistent. And it doesn't mean that you have to post, 10 times a day or some weird metric like that. But I am really predictable in my community. I say, I will do live events Tuesdays and Fridays so that you get a start of the week business thought and a thinking thing to go into the weekend with. And it's structured because people want to know, I need to look for this. And one small tip here, respect people's choice to be in your group. I do not advocate for the mention. Everybody stop hijacking people's time. If you know you're valuable and you provide them predictability, they will come and check your platform. You don't need to use that feature if you've got an engaged group who knows what you're doing and why they're there.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, and each and every one of the points you're mentioning is pretty much what we are living also with a hard power global nation, right? And I think it's so important really to, get people, really make it very clear on why are people wanting to be there, right? And, really be predictable in terms of sharing value and all of that. Powerful hints. The second point you mentioned, Christine, was about being very aware and being very selective and conscious about, you said, be in the right room where I'm playing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I always think it's really important to evaluate. So, your business is always built on expanding your circle. And it is really easy to recognize that networking can be a powerful place to pay. Being in social settings can be a powerful place to grow from. But you do need to assess what's the value you're getting out of it. And right now, I'm in a moment today. I said, well, I've spent a year with the community and said, this community is no longer serving me. I have great respect for who they are, but I won't be continuing into 2023. You do need to recognize that time is your most valuable resource and it's not renewable. So you want to look at what kind of dynamics going on in the room. And I said, there's a danger I find it with my clients. I find it in my own reflection in the mirror is I can get comfortable in rooms where I'm like, everybody knows my name. I'm not really seeing movement out of that space. And what I mean by movement is, more than just the first meeting or more than first conversations that is moving to new introductions to new spaces, to new opportunities. And that's really what I'm looking for when I'm in new spaces. It's amplification, not of my business, but of momentum for my clients, for great people who are good in business. And so I say to people, remember to constantly audit what rooms you're in. The rooms you want to be in are probably slightly uncomfortable because either they're moving at a pace that's faster than yours, and there's a fine line on that, but it will pull you in the direction of movement. You also want to be in a place where people are thinking together and challenging each other and opening opportunities to each other. The danger is if you're in the same room for too long, you're like, it's really nice to see you, and you don't move your business anymore. And that can be a place where they're fans of yours, but you're not seeing new dominoes fall because you're in that room. And I would say reevaluate that. I do it at least once a year, and I commit to spaces at least a year to say, I need to really build relationships. I really need to figure out how I can contribute. I need to figure out, what is their vision? Does it align with where my business is, where I see potential? And if it's no longer a fit, I have to make the decision, go find new ones. And a great tip here is ask, when you're meeting other inspiring people who are maybe a little further ahead of you or doing things that you really find exciting and are curious about, ask them, what rooms should I be in? Where should I be going out? Should there be events on my calendar? Should there be communities I should be part of? Should there be individuals that I should follow because they're great at what they do? Ask. It's one of the greatest compliments if you're on the other side of the table that says, I really want to go somewhere. Where would you direct me to spend some time? And it's one of the most powerful questions I use when I'm networking, because I said, I want to amplify great people. That's actually how you and I met on a stage and said, tell me a little bit more about the rooms you play in. And you're like, we're doing a challenge. Great, tell me about it. Who can I get into that room for you?
I love it. In a previous conversation also, Christine, you mentioned that you have a focus on really non-negotiables in your in your business and daily life, and you say that, hey, our time is our most valuable resource, right? What are some of these non-negotiables that you really make time for in your day-to-day life and business to really bring your business forward?
This is a great one, because this is actually the thing that really is, I account for all the acceleration in my own business and the multiple businesses I've had. It is really clear on what is income producing activity and what commitment you're willing to make as simply non-negotiable. And when I say non-negotiable, it doesn't mean you sit down and necessarily have all of that time in one day, but you know committed that you're going to stay in movement. Because I will tell you, staying in movement, how you build momentum. The highest amount of energy you spend is 0 to something. And I said, the reason you get so exhausted on your journey is because you're doing the hokey pokey. You're not staying in movement. You're constantly trying to create it. So for me, there were 3 things I know grow any business. Number 1, you got to be making friends with strangers. So it's a visibility piece, meeting more people, more ways, more often, number 1. And it's a non-negotiable. I tell my clients 50% of your time minimum, you got to be doing this, because you're constantly needing to expand your circle. It's how you get off the crazy train of cyclical revenue and cyclical bursts of speed in your business. Number 2 is you really need to know, I call them the so what factors. Why are you doing this? Who are you serving, and what's the problem that they have, and what does it cost them, and why you? Why that's so important is because that's the piece that sparks curiosity in new people. That's what makes you different, and it's something that you can't replicate. So that's really clear, but you've got to be able to know it and articulate it consistently as a non-negotiable and own it. That's a big challenge mentally, but it is really an important part of your non-negotiables. The third one, I know the number 1 thing that moves business is conversation. It's not expensive click funnels and really complicated tools. It is human to human. So how can you show up as human and build conversations? Because it's not about selling. It's about reaching, I like her, I trust her, she's got a sense of humor. And they're really making soft judgments and saying, tell me more. If you can build that consistently, it really can change the shape of your future, because you get introduced to new opportunities. People are curious, they're supportive, they're collaborative. And that's when you say, I have no idea what's going to be next, but it's going to be exciting. And if and when someone does step into your universe that says, tell me what it's like to work with you. Can you imagine what that's like, instead of you thinking I have to join 100 Facebook groups to grow my business? It's mind-blowing. And I'll tell you, it's a reality I live in, and so can you when you start showing up as a human. So those 3 things to me are non-negotiables. When I started my first business, I did them 1 hour a day. My business doubled every year. When people started to say to me, could you help me do that? That's actually gave birth to my coaching business. It wasn't that I set out to coach. I set out to be a great entrepreneur, and people were observing I was succeeding. Could I help? Sure. But I know that if I don't focus on those 3 things, I get really distracted. And then I realize I've stopped making offers and I've stopped doing the things that grow my business. I'm busy, but I'm not really being effective.
Yeah, love it. Beautiful, very focused, right? And I know that you help a lot of your clients as well on attracting new clients, and you're actually showing them how you've done it. And I love, the question of what do you do 1 hour a day to really double your income, right? Year by year. I love it. And Christina, I know you and I are action takers, right? And whenever we take action consistently, it turns into a habit. So, people always will ask me, like, Monique, what are some success habits for entrepreneurs? So what is your number 1? What is your one thing you do day in and day out consistently that really bring your business forward? And some of the things you might have even mentioned already, but what is your number 1?
Number 1, number 1 is I get into conversation. This is a really important piece, because I know it is the thing that really, it lights me up. And I will tell you the funny thing about this. I am actually an introvert. So those introverts are like, oh God, she said conversations. I think that conversations move things. So every week I'm really intentional about connecting with people that I want to have a conversation with. And I'm scheduling time every week, a certain commitment of my day, however much time I want to work, says it has to be about getting into conversation, because conversation is where we get creative.
Yes.
And creativity is what grows your business.
Yeah. Love that. I want to, how do these conversations get you creative? That is something, I fully hear what you say, and I very much resonate with it. Like, how is it getting you creative? Of course, it opens perspectives, right? There's certain question asked and all of that, right?
Yeah, well, it starts with, it's really goes back to, I said, one of the second non-negotiables is, why are you doing this? And I think when you get into conversation, where you can start being creative is, why are you doing this? And asking that question. I always am fascinated. I'm sure I asked you this, is how did you get started? Did you imagine you would be an entrepreneur? What's your vision for what you want? And I'm thinking creatively, how can I support you? Not how can I sell you my services? How can I support you? Because I really believe we have so much opportunity to amplify each other. Great business people doing great things should be known in bigger circles. So right. Where I start to get creative is trying to connect your vision to things I'm aware of and saying, did you know about this speaker group? Did you know about this community I think are awesome? Or did you know your energy and this vision really match someone else in my network? I'm looking, it feels like popcorn in my brain, to be honest. I'm like, where can I pop something? And at that point, it raises the vibration and speed starts to move. And it said that's a movement thing. And that can be fun. That talks about the play that I started with. It's infinite potential, focus on the possibilities. What can we do? Where can we start?
Yeah. And that's
Let's do it
I'm
today.
always asking myself as well, what can we do together? And there you go, Christina. The interview here is a result of that, right?
That's right.
So we always, I know that, you love to turn learning into doing quite fast. So do I. And that's why every time we are running an interview, we ask our guests, what is one thing people can do today, right away, to turn their learning into doing so that they eventually get results, right? So what is the weekly challenge that you would like to play on with our community?
I think the key thing is challenge yourself to start talking to strangers. And this is a funny one because your mother would say, don't talk to strangers. But this is a habit you need to learn. And I think it's one of the hardest things for adults. And I'm saying, it doesn't mean say go get on a massive stage yet, if that's something that feels like a very big bridge. But I'm like, how about we, if you were getting groceries, you said hello to a stranger. You initiated, do you want to have a coffee? And that's a virtual coffee. I said, but you remember, you must be the driver of your vision, and because nobody else will hold it for you. You do not have to go solo. That's why I think community and inner circles are so important, but you do need to challenge yourself to get away from the behind the screen typing. So I say, today my challenge to you is say hi to somebody in the Starbucks lineup, or say hi to somebody at the grocery store, and initiate at least one this week. If you're not doing it already, why don't we set up a virtual coffee? And don't have the agenda, I'm selling my services. I'd like to know what makes you tick.
Yes. Go in.
If you could do that, I think you would start to create a new habit that will make your life more interesting. You're going to meet cool people, and very likely you'll start to have a lot more fun in your business, and you will see opportunities you can't imagine where you're sitting right now.
Love it. And if you are not going out for coffee today, or you're not planning to buy grocery, hey, there's opportunities these days to reach out to someone online, right?
100%.
Okay, Christine, I know that you and I could keep having this conversation forever, but I know we can. We need to start rounding it off. However, I know a lot of the people that are with us right here, right now. And by the way, thank you for allowing us to inspire you and support you all the time with our interviews. But, again, Christine, quite a few of them will say, hey, we'd love to connect with Christine. We'd like to find out more about what she's doing and how she could support us, or have that magical coffee chat with you. Where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, the best place to come find me is simply by following my name, which you'll find on the screen. My name is Christine Campbell Rapin. I have a website. You'll find the ecosystem on it. So you'll be able to connect to me on social media. You're very welcome to come join our community, and let's start that conversation. I said, you can sit until you're ready to stand, but engage. Your dreams matter. You can find me, ChristineCampbellRapin.com.
Wonderful. Love it, Christine. Thank you. Would you like to have one final, inspirational thought to round up our conversation?
I think I just want you to know that the permission to live the dreams that you imagine in your wildest moments come from you. Write yourself a permission slip and say, I am going to chase my dreams and make an impact, because I will tell you, if you have a calling to feel it, lean in and give yourself permission to do it.
I love it. And again, as we always say, right, take action and, talk to a stranger today or get in touch with someone you don't know yet. Really powerful advice, and see how that leads you and how that supports you. And also, you're part of our Heart Power Global Nation community. So share with us as you're taking that action. What is happening? What are you learning from it? What opportunities are opening up for you? We'd love to hear. We are here to cheer you on and support you in any way we can. Okay. Great. Thank you, Christine, for being on with us today and sharing all your insights and golden nuggets. And all of you, go out there, take this one action, play with us on the challenge this week, and let us know how it's going with you. And as we always say, just again, keep doing your own magic and speak up, scale up, impact the world. Because when you do it in your powerful way, we impact the world together in even greater ways. Okay. All the best for now. We'll be back with another heart-powered inspiring interview soon. In the meantime, let's play in our community and we'll be in touch. Okay. All the best for now. Have a wonderful day.